Cindy Colson shares honest take on Indiana Fever's rising stardom after Wnba's recent popularity boom. The Wnba's rise in popularity and subsequent commercial influx were one of the talking points of the Wnba negotiations, and the players wanted a fair share of the revenues with the rise. But on closer look, the Indiana Fever's rise and popularity surpass the whole league's growth. Being on the team, Cindy Colson addressed the stardom of the franchise. The Indiana Fever led the league in recent social media valuation, with over $55 million in value, nearly 7 times more than the second-place Wings. The veteran guard spoke about the Stardom in the same manner as 3 of the Fever players running a podcast at the moment. Cindy Colson addresses stardom of Indiana Fever team. The former Aces star was on the Good Follow podcast, where she talked about her time with the Champions and now her time with the Fever team. The podcast host, Ross Goldonwood, pointed out that there are 3 active podcasts with the Fever franchise. Connecting the podcast concept to the team's popularity, Colson said, "So the landscape of things have changed since just more eyes on the sport, since partnerships and sponsorships that people have. And so people are just trying to take advantage and maximize the opportunities that you have. Yeah. And there's plenty of captivating human beings, who also happen to be good at basketball." She added that no one used to bring their podcast to the locker room, as it was an off-court activity for those players. Accepting the change in tide for women's sport, Colson highlighted that new opportunities are now opening up. Most of the credit goes to Caitlin Clark, who brought in the change at the Wnba and at the Fever franchise. The player's magnetic pull keeps attracting new followers to the franchise and league, and the 36-year-old praised the star for her welcoming nature and even gave her a big supporting hand during her recent injury struggles. Cindy Colson talks about encouraging Caitlin Clark in injury-ridden season. The former Iowa guard played just 13 games in the league in the whole 2025 season. She suffered multiple injuries in the season, and an ankle injury kept her out of the season. For a player who never missed a game in her career, it was heartbreaking. Clark honestly addressed the toughest challenge of her injury-filled season. But the veteran star stepped up and encouraged her to stay vocal. "It was cool being on a team with her, getting to see her in another light. It was good to see a lighter side of her. Unfortunately, when you're injured, you have to adjust your mindset and get mentally tougher. I kept talking to her a lot about staying vocal. You don't want to lose this time with your teammates just because you're sidelined. You can still lead and build relationships," she said. "Don't let it be a wasted season, just because you can't contribute physically." I think her desire to become a better leader is clear, but seeing her fun side, that was the most important part. I just kept telling her. More of that, Colson added. Colson herself missed the postseason due to injury and joined TC on the bench, but the love and support for the team continued to come from both players. The post-Cindy Colson shares honest take on Indiana Fever's rising stardom after Wnba's recent popularity boom, originally published on Wnba Take.